Oh, come to the light. The light is good. The light is warm. But you said don't go into the light. Welcome again, guys, to Know the Ricans. I'm Mo.
I'm Lou.
And we're back again for another fun-filled adventure of God knows whatever. Whatever we come up with at the moment, that's what we'll talk about. And let's talk about this. That's been, I've been thinking about this for a while. Independent creators versus mainstream creators.
Yes.
When it comes to creations, your thoughts? You're an independent, so.
I'm an independent writer, creator. From my point of view, mainstream, they already got their audience. Independents have to struggle to get their audience. So their storylines have to be catchy. They have to be quick. Whereas, for example, the big two houses, Marvel and DC, they can take as long as they want because they have the funding to come up with as many issues as they want. Mm-hmm. Storylines can go on for a year. No. And thankfully for Kickstarter, Kickstarter has helped out a lot of independent publishers and creators, and also Indiegogo.
That I can see.
Yeah.
And with an independent, you're pretty much trying to capture an audience, but you don't want to be repetitive like an ongoing soap opera, like Days of Our Lives. It's like 24 years later, and they're still recycling the same stories. Mm-hmm. Same thing with like the major ones.
Yes.
I mean, I like Crisis on Infinite Earths, but I think there's enough Crisis as it is. How many crises can you have? I mean, of course, in the mainstream, you can have as many as you want because you created a storyline that you can wash, rinse, and repeat. Throw in, some White Sox here, throw in a fat sheet here, change it up but so much, but you're still recycling the same story.
You know what I'm finding out too? For example, Image Comics.
Okay.
They broke out into their own different branches. It's Image, the umbrella, but then they got the McFarlane, the Top Cow, and so on and so on. Now, I'm noticing that a lot of these big houses, such as Image, they're going into Kickstarters and Indiegogo. Why? When they have the funding to do it. So now, to me, that's cheating. Because, and I'm not gonna lie, I did it. I went into going into the funding for what's his name? What's his name? Damn it! I did the She.
Oh, okay.
I did the She thing, and then I also did the Darkness for Top Cow.
Top Cow.
And the Darkness was a Top Cow, and I funded them, and I got the book. But again, why did I have to go through that? If they're the big houses, that's like Marvel doing a Kickstarter. Why?
Yeah, they have the money to back it up.
They have the money to back it up.
Could be the fact that maybe the creator at the time is not getting enough funding for the characters. Remember in one issue I say that sometimes a creation gets steamrolled only because there's not enough viewership behind it. So then what are you to do? Do what you do.
Yes.
Create your own funding so that way you can take it to the next level and push it forward and then prove to the mainstream that, back this, because look, I did this issue now and I funded it myself, and look, this has gotten more, and more. Because again, I know as far as the giants are concerned, DC, Marvel, Valiant, Image, they have people where they're sitting down there and they're making those decisions, and they follow this character, follow that character. Okay, and we'll fund this one and fund this one, because again, if you go to Marvel, you're going to fund the top five. You're always going to fund Thor. You're going to fund Iron Man,
Spider-Man,
Incredible Hulk, Spider-Man. Your top grossers.
Yeah.
Same thing with DC. There's going to be Superman, Batman. Okay, Aquaman so much, but definitely Wonder Woman, Green Lantern. You're going to fund those because those are the top ones you've created. Some of the other ones underneath, well, they'll get their light, but it depends on how it's caught. If it's caught big, fine. If it's not, it's It's there, it comes back.
You brought
there,
up
it'll come back.
You brought up an interesting topic right there. With Superman, with Batman, even the Hulk, you have different, like even Spider-Man. You have 5 different titles. You have Amazing Spider-Man. You have the Web of Spider-Man. To me, that's milking it already. You know, you got Batman, you got Superman, Adventures of Superman. You know,
Yeah.
stick with one because Superman can't be everywhere at once. Neither can Spider-Man, and so
Sure.
to me, that's milking it already.
Yeah, you're watering it down at this point.
You're watering it down.
With so many different, you've got Superman in Action Comics, The Adventures of Superman. I mean, how many titles are you going to come up? I mean, they're all leading the same way. The only time I think with Superman that it was all continuity all together was the death of Superman,
Yes.
the Battle of Doomsday, crossed all the titles.
I was going to tell you that it crossed all the titles. I think that should have been told in a Superman book.
One
only.
title, Superman, bang, all the way through to the end.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And if you notice, they gave it to the titles that weren't doing too well in sales.
No,
Yeah.
you're right about that, because in marketing, it does boil down to dollars and cents. Yes, we were important to a certain extent, but it's just like in the last conversation regarding foils, you want to drag in the person to buy the comic.
Yes.
The story has, falls kind of short. It's there, but it got watered down a little. And if it was one of those stories that you got into, like I mentioned before, Crisis on Infinite Earths, it's got Crisis attached. Okay, I want this one because I like Crisis on Infinite Earths. I want to see what this Crisis is about. Last Crisis, really, because there's another Crisis coming up. So again, you're watering down the same ideas, but you're throwing a little flavor here, a little there, but it still has the same concept, same heroes.
You mentioned the foil again. Big houses can afford the foils. Independents, they can do it if they do it through Kickstarter or Indiegogo, but that's why an independent publisher will always try to do a cover that'll stand out.
Yeah.
The covers in an independent will always stand. Like, for example, I'm an independent publisher and I'm an independent creator. Right now, I'm being published by a different publisher, but the cover that I have now for my Jennifer the She-Wolf, that's my creation, by the way. Pick it up, coming out soon. Jennifer the She-Wolf has a new cover, and it's a werewolf by a bridge with a handicapped kid, which plays an intricate character, because in my storyline of Jennifer the She-Wolf, the kid in the wheelchair witnesses her transforming into a werewolf. He thinks that's his way of, okay, if you can make me into a werewolf, maybe I can be normal. It doesn't work like that. What gives one a gift is actually a curse.
Right.
Now, what isn't known at the time is that Jennifer's daughter became a vampire in the 1800s, at about the same time she became a werewolf. And they don't know they're each other's mother and daughter. They think, one is dead. Each one is dead. Now,
nice twist.
Right. Now, in the storyline that I have, the two will meet. The two will fight because the vampire is being tricked by someone else. In the storyline, the kid in the wheelchair eventually gets bitten, but gets bitten both at the same time.
Okay.
And at the end of the storyline, for me, the kid in the wheelchair will be in the daytime. He'll be a wolf. At night, he'll be a vampire. He will never be human again.
Interesting twist. Interesting twist. But that's good, because that's the kind of storyline people are going to follow.
Right.
And you can, put that, you can stretch it as far as it can, but not too far. Because again, people, like myself, story is what captures me. And if it's something that I'm already going to say, okay, it's getting dull. It's okay. Now it's going to get watered down. Like with the big majors, they water it down, and they don't. It's not enough substance in there anymore. It's like you created the whole idea of the infinite Earths, which is great. You'll have different variations of a Superman, different variations of a Batman. That's great. I mean, and then you have all the crises. But the thing is, if you're gonna make it just one crisis, and if it's gonna be a cataclysmic ending, stretch it for a year if you have to, because now you've created more than enough content. 10 different Batmans, 10 different Superman, 10 different Flashes. Some are similar, some are not, but you have characters that you build on, because you've already done it in so many different types of crises. Why don't you just make one long one instead? It still would be the same thing, except that now you're including as you go along. You're not watering it down to repeat, rinse and repeat. You're not turning what was old into the new 52. The new 52 now born again.
Yeah.
I'm like, you're not. Don't change it. Give it the long stretch. Give it the characters that you build, that development they need. Because we already know, okay, they're in different Earths. In the long run, when they all combine and they win the thing, whether you stretch it for a year or 2 years, boom, now they go separate. Now, if you want to do crossovers, you can. Because they've already done it on the CW when they did their Crisis on Infinite Earths, or when they even did their first get-together, the first ensemble. What did Vibe do? He crossed over, went to Earth 38 and got himself Kara, Supergirl. And from that point, they've had nothing but crossovers when they brought them in. But their storytelling was great because you're bringing them in. You have a situation, 4 shows, all 4 get together, a week long. Ratings are going to be great. Bang, conclusion, done. But the thing is, even though that story is done, you can still open the door to more stories, because now you can bring them all in whenever you want. That's why it's like almost every year I was always looking forward to the next ensemble, because A, they're bringing them together. It's a different storyline and it's a different get-together, but it's still fresh, it's still good, it's not watered down. Things have changed from that point, Crisis on Earth X, great. They've done it already in the comic books, and then they did it here. But when they did it, they brought in so much, and they brought in all the crossovers that it was good. One, done. And in Crisis on Infinite Earths, you had 3 Superman. Even with the appearance of Tom Welling, and he wasn't even Superman. He had already given up his powers, but still good. Still good. You opened that door, and you brought them in, and gave them their appearances, and then you brought them off. But you still leave the idea of the fact that there's a multiverse and you can open the door. Marvel did the same thing with
The Reborn.
Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we all loved, seeing Krasinski as Mr. Fantastic, seeing Patrick Stewart replay as Professor X. The fact that Anson Mount actually portrayed himself as the true Black Bolt in outfit and everything, I was like, yes.
Yeah.
But open that door, and now you have content for stories live past even the first movie, because now you've said there's a door to another world, and that another world can bring that character in.
See, but when you do that, to me, it's like you're running out of ideas. Whereas, for example, my Jennifer the She-Wolf, after the 4 or 6 minute series that I have planned, I want to come out with her daughter's point of view, how she became a one-shot book of that.
Okay.
But when you create these other worlds, it's because you're running out of ideas for the original one you created.
True. But at the same time, with the multiverse, you can change those stories, because there's always going to be talks of, were there ever a bad Superman? Or were there ever a Batman that kills?
Could you imagine that? Could you imagine if the roles were switched? If Batman was the crazy one and the Joker was the good one? I mean, he's got enough tricks up his sleeve to actually be a good guy.
There you go. That's what I mean. The multiverse opens that whole opportunity. But the thing is, when you repeat and then you change, like the New 52 was supposed to be them rebooting the whole thing all over again.
And it sucked.
And I was like, why are you rebooting it?
Yeah.
Can't you just leave it alone and just say the crisis, all right? And then whatever happens after that, even if they have a new costume change or whatever, okay, let them have it. How many years Iron Man had his original outfit from the 60s, and it wasn't until mid 80s until he changed into another suit? I mean, he had it for almost 4 or 5 years, and that suit had almost everything in it. everything in it, until he faced an enemy, or at least a new writer that said, hey, you know what? Here's an enemy that beats your suit. And then he had to then change his suit.
Yeah. There's another one. The Reborn.
Oh,
Remember when Marvel tried to do the New 52? Well, they did it first, actually.
Yeah, it wasn't that with the...
The Reborns came out first.
The Reborns came out first, but wasn't it from the storyline of Onslaught when Professor Xavier lost his mind? He became Onslaught. The Hulk faced him as a Savage Hulk, and then from the destruction of Onslaught, a whole universe emerged from it.
Because that was when Rob Light, all the original old guys came back to Marvel to do, which is Captain America looked like he was on steroids.
There's Iron Man. I was like, what the tubes on the back over here? Was it his steam engine? Like, come on, that's like, really? I mean, I read them, and some of it, okay, with the Hulk that had the whole lizard face, and I'm like, what is that?
Yes.
Okay. All right, granted, the idea and the imagination, okay, I'll give you some of it, but you just didn't have me on story. I mean, if it was like when they had the crossover between Marvel and DC and they made the amalgam universe, okay, I enjoyed that because it's an amalgam of both universes into one.
You brought up
another
interesting subject where you just brought it up. You said, what was it, the storylines have to keep up?
Yeah.
An independent publisher or writer, creator, has to balance both.
Right.
He has to keep up with the story, it has to be fantastic, but then the art has to be matching what a mainstream does. And that's difficult to do.
Yeah, because there are not too many artists out there.
No.
Yeah.
There isn't. And that's,
there isn't.
Like my artist, his name is Amardi. We call him Amardi, but his name is Angel Maria. And he's from Spain. And his art is pretty good. His art is fantastic, actually. He takes what I write in a script and enhances it. And I'm like, this is fantastic. And he and I, we've been working on several books back and forth together.
Okay, hold that thought.
Yes.
We'll be back with some more. Again, spinning the hammer, opening the portal for commercials. Be right back.
Come, let's play. Radio. Come, let's play. Fun is what we crave.
Let's go.
You're listening to New York City's LDM Radio. Another long stretch of continuous music.
Back into time. Flashback.
Make my move, gonna live my dream, gonna make my
New York City's LDM Radio.
The best radio station in the world is right here, right now.
Welcome back. To know the Ricans. I'm Mo.
I'm Lou.
And before the break, we were talking about your artist, bringing your character She-Wolf to life.
Yes. We were, Jennifer the She-Wolf came to me as an idea, but I based it basically on the handicap's point of view. And then the She-Wolf came. And then the daughter, the whole story, but evolved around the kid in the wheelchair. What he sees, what he thinks is going to be simple for him to become physically normal. And I left off as my artist, Angel Maria Martinez. He's from Spain, and he does wonderful artwork. I would recommend him for anything. He actually did my father passed away 12 years ago, and he actually did using an image I sent him of my father, and he's actually holding my nephew, his grandson, which they never met. And it came out so lifelike. People were like, yo, but they never met. How did that happen? He's so good at it. And I would recommend him for any artist, any independent creator that would like to start their own book. I would always recommend him. He is fantastic. He is phenomenal. And he's easy to work with.
Yeah, an independent artist, a good one, does bring a lot of life
Yes.
to the character that you bring forth, and you want to get your readers into. Because you could create a book, but are you creating a graphic novel, which you want to see a character, and then you want to then create the images that follow through with the storyline? I mean, it's not. I mean, a book, you're pretty much left with your imagination, but the words have to be put in there in such a way that sparks that imagination, so that you can imagine seeing your she-wolf and the description of her and how tall she is, how strong she is, her long claws, short claws, big fangs, short fangs. That's all in the description. But when you do have an artist to then bring that creation to life into a graphic art, that it changes everything. So now you see it, and then you read it, and then you're envisioning it, because now you have a representation of it.
I met Angel Maria Martinez working with another publisher, an independent. I was hired to write for this independent publisher, which no longer exists. And the publisher told me that if I ever want to do my own stuff, look Angel up. And that's what I did. And he worked, we never met at all. We've only spoken to, and we've done video conference or whatever, because when it's daytime here, it's nighttime over there. So we speak at the twilight, like 2 a.m, if anything. It's funny because in the other publisher, we never worked with each other, but the scripts that I wrote, he did a fantastic job with it. It's called Alpha. And he created these robots. They look so cool. And I'm gonna bring you the book. But again, Angel Maria Martinez is the one that you would like to work with. As a creator, writer, artist myself, I don't do the artwork because I write with my mouth and it would take me twice as long. And I'd rather do the writing.
You hear that, Angel? You gotta come on by, sit down with us, show us your stuff.
He's a wonderful, wonderful artist. He does a lot of independent stuff too. He's got his own title out there too.
Now, here's the thing that I wanted to ask you about as an independent creator. Now, artist, story. Artist is one thing, but the story, that's the easiest part. You have the concept, you put it out there, and you put it on paper. Artist, publishing, that costs money.
Yes.
That's not a cheap thing.
No, it doesn't. But thanks through our discussion in the past, digital. With digital, you can always put it out there digitally first. Amazon is a great tool for that. I haven't figured out how to do actual physical books on Amazon yet, but the digital is much easier. And there's another one called Indie Planet. They have a lot of my titles up there also, and they are very good with. They only take independent. They're very good with that. And now there's a new one that I'm not into yet. My publisher uses them, Global Global or Global Comics, something like that. Yeah. But it's easier if you're gonna get it out there as a digital format. The doors are way open, much more like.
Yeah, because the mainstream has the money and the publications in which to put it out there and put it in the racks and in the comic book stores all over the place.
When you work with an artist, I try to get an artist that will do the pencils, inks, and colors. If you get one that does each one individually, that's going to cost you money. Angel has done well with the penciling, the inking, and the coloring. I do the writing. I hire someone else to do the actual lettering. That costs money too, and it's a process. When you become a creator, you can't think of it as, I'm going to get rich. No, you have to look at it for the love of creating, for the love of writing, for the love of art, for the love of getting your story out there. You just want recognition for what you wrote. Don't ever think you're going to become rich or anything. That happens once or twice out of every 30 creators. Just just have an open mind about everything. That'll come later on. Me, when I first started doing this, I just wanted something to outlive me, so that if my day comes, my stories will still be out there, whether it be in digital format or, look at the creators of Superman. Yeah, they got to see their creation come to life, but the movies that came out today, no. I mean, their names will always be with Superman. They're dead, but
Superman lives on.
Yeah,
it does. And doesn't
it's
make
a legacy.
difference if
It's a legacy.
Christopher Reeve plays it.
Yes.
Henry Cavill. It doesn't make a difference.
No, it's a legacy, and that's what I want to leave behind. I want to leave something where my name will still exist out there. And whether it be through comics or my novel, The Day They Made Contact, it's out there. It's going to be out there for a while.
So, again, mainstream versus independent, of course. As you can hear, the passion behind it is the driving force that helps creators put out what we love to read. And I agree. It's like when you have that kind of passion, you know that in the end, the reader is going to appreciate what you're putting there.
Yes.
Whereas, as I said before, if you're dealing with the big giants, of course, rinse and repeat, storylines, even though they within themselves have the power to take it and make it last and do what the independents are doing, and that is creating characters that we can fall for, love, and follow and see their growth as time goes on.
The greatest feedback I've ever gotten from Jennifer the She-Wolf was when a fan, which I didn't think I was even going to get one, actually sent me their rendition of what Jennifer the She-Wolf is. Their artwork of what Jennifer the She-Wolf is. I was like, wow, so people are looking at it. People are interested in it. And I've gotten maybe 2 or 3 fan art. And I was like, wow, this is amazing. So there is a niche for that type of story out there. It all depends on how you tell your story. Storytelling is very important when it comes to writing it down. And you have to keep constant. This is what's going to take place in issue number 1. Now issue number 1, how's it going to take place in issue number 2? You have to keep going.
Yeah, that's what people are going to go back and forth. I want the next one, and I want the next one. And like I said, digital versus the paper, as we discussed before, it's like, the paper, you have the anticipation of the next page and what have you. And while the digital format, you tap and you can pretty much get a blow up of that scene, and it follows the way you would read a book. But again, in the book, you have conversation that can follow because you grasp it more. Digital is just a not so much a motion comic, but almost like a video because you're just tapping to move it along, Yeah, there are certain scenes where you go, wow. But in a comic book, you get the real wow.
Yeah.
Graphic book, you get the real wow because once you flip that, it's like, oh my God, you get the giant panel and this happened. I mean, you get the conversation that builds, but you get the intent. I remember with X-Men Fall of the Mutants, and they had that conversation, and they had done this where the TV reporter is now interviewing, and I think it was Havoc, if I'm not mistaken, and he was talking to him about how people hate mutants. So why do you do this? And then he was saying, the reasons why. And that right there becomes that moment when you're just reading that balloon, and that whole monologue becomes something.
Yeah.
Now you have that understanding, and it's like, wow. So that's what racism is about. Because you're wondering to yourself, that's right. Why are you even bother saving these people? You have all this power. You could run it all if you wanted to, but no. You choose to put it for the purpose of saving and helping mankind instead of enslaving them. Story, what we love to follow.
Yep.
And now, for some nerd news. Coming up, ladies and gentlemen, something that just came across my desk. It seems, and I've been looking around, I've heard that Henry Cavill will now be making his first appearance in the MCU. And guess where it's going to happen?
Where?
Wolverine and Deadpool.
Interesting.
Interesting it is. It's from what I've read so far, he is supposed to be coming out as a Wolverine variant. And I think I know why, because there was talks for quite some time at one point between Zack Snyder's version of the Justice League and before the Black Adam. You know, there was this talk of whether or not there was going to be a Superman, 2, or Man of Steel 2, excuse me, because people were asking for it. I was asking for it. But then this artist came out and then they started saying, what if he came to the MCU? What characters could he be? And there was one variant drawn of him as Wolverine. That sparked a lot, and I mean a lot of buzz. And I think this is where the buzz is coming from, and now they put it into the movie. Because it is already discussed that he is going to appear in the MCU. He's in talks, he's signing. I mean, as of what? I don't know. I mean, there's talks of him being Captain Britain, from Captain Britain. I mean, for me, Captain Britain's a good, but I would like to see him actually play a villain. And I've read it one article, and I kind of agree with it, but I would love to see him play Mr. Sinister.
That would be awesome. He could get away with that. He could definitely get away with that.
And that's a serious number. I mean, he's got the build, he's got the look, he's got that certain, how can I say, persona where he could play off a villain.
But Captain Britain would be dope too.
Captain Britain would be dope. It would be nice, and it would suit him well.
Yeah.
I mean, it would suit him well.
Because he's already Diesel. He's already.
Oh yeah. But so is Sinister. Remember, Sinister's taking a lot of DNA from different mutants and then putting it and injecting it in himself.
Yeah.
To become what he is. So, and then there's just the whole psychology of what he's doing, trying to create a master race.
Yes.
And that alone, I can see. That it's for an actor sometimes, and I've heard a lot of times, like when you get into a character, the juicy material is what you really want to do. You want to act, and you want to find that juicy material that you can sink your teeth into and say, yeah, that's the depths that I want to go. I mean, yes, we know he's to me, he will always be my Man of Steel. Now, whether Henry Cavill as Superman, for me, will always be Superman. I remember from the article when he was first auditioning for the roles, Zack had him wear Christopher Reeve's Superman suit. And this is before he bulked up. He wanted to see him in that suit. And the minute he walked in and saw him in the suit, he said, that's my Superman.
Good.
And both on screen and, you have to admit, even off screen, he's shown that, yeah, he plays the role, but he is the role.
Yeah.
He is that. Besides being, charismatic, good looking, he's also a nerd. Warhammer. He's got a whole collection of Warhammer. As a matter of fact, he's heading up, I think, for a movie based on the game that he plays. Nerd, by any right. I've seen him do a video where he's building his own computer for gaming. I mean, I do that, and I'm like, dude, you're my kind of nerd, bro. And I love that about him. So I'm looking forward to finding out and seeing his variation of Wolverine on the screen, even if it's for a second. But you know what? That would be the best second that there ever is.
If you guys have any idea what other character Mr. Caviezel should play, let us know on our Facebook page.
And Ricans. And for that, I'm Mo.
I'm Lou.
Thank you again for joining us. Looking forward to seeing you next time into the next dimension of Ricans. Stay tuned.
Wait, I thought we...